Hey guys, and welcome to Wednesdays with Ra. Today's episode 13, and today we're going to be talking about endings, in-betweens, and beginnings. And so to be completely honest, we have been going through a lot lately. We always say that, but like with the energies of the Lion's Gate and then this blue moon happening, a lot has been going on. And so we just want to be real with you guys and tell you what we've experienced. We hope you are going to tell us what you are experiencing, and together we can work it all out. And so let's begin, I guess.
Hi, everyone. Yes, with Temple and I always experience a lot of similar energies together. We're always relating to each other on what's going on. And I know that we've been talking about, all summer we've been talking about, the energies are rough, the energies are building, the energies are this, and we've all felt swept up by a lot of waves lately. But as it comes to a culmination, as the energies are integrating from the Lion's Gate and all of the big energy influxes of the summer, I'm hearing this right now, that our fields have absorbed a lot of upgrades, a lot of activations, a lot of updates, and that has put a lot of us on a path where there's a bit of a fork in the road. You can choose, for a lot of people, you can kind of choose the old ways, choose the ways of safety, choose the ways that you feel comfortable with, or you can use these new energies to propel you into the unknown. It feels like the unknown. And I think it's an in-between time for a lot of people. I think a lot of us are stuck in the middle of choosing these two paths. We know that it's safe to stay where we are, but we're being pushed in a new way that might be uncomfortable, anxiety-inducing, something that we're not used to, asking us to be brave in ways that we haven't had to be brave before. So this period of choice making now that we've taken in all of these energies and these paths have been laid for us because we have integrated a lot. It can be a weird time. And for me in Temple, it's been a weird time. It definitely hasn't been easy. So if you guys are going through anything like that, we're going to talk a bit about what it's been like for us, and please talk to us about what it's been like for you. And hopefully, like Temple said, we can all help each other out.
Yeah, exactly. So most of you are probably aware of the Lion's Gate, and we talked briefly about that in our last live. So feel free to go back to that for all the specifics on it. But it was really a time where these energies were culminating into this big choice, this big life path choice. And then we threw the blue moon in there as well, which just happened. And this was all about your reflections on life and recognizing your growth, letting things go that are no longer serving you, and allowing the energies to come in and do the updates. Now, like Maggie and I always say, you have the free will and the sovereignty to allow these things to happen. So if you don't allow the energies to come in, they won't come in. If you don't allow these upgrades to happen, they won't happen. And that kind of helps you choose your paths. And so for a lot of us, we're in this in-between phase at the moment where we have so many things happening, and we're going this way, and then we're going that way, and then we're really confused as to what's going on, and we're trying to figure it all out. And so it can seem like this limbo, or like just feeling lost. A lot of us are mourning our old versions. We're losing people, losing friends on the way, losing family, losing close relationships. So relationships that we thought we knew were completely changing. And so we have to deal with that on a level. So there's this very human aspect to all of this, because no matter how galactic and different dimensions and things we can talk about, which we are all functioning in this 3D world. And so these are very human things. We have sadness, fear, anger. We have these changes that are happening to us. And we need to really look to see where we've been, where we can possibly go, and then finally choose through working through it what path we're going to actually take. And so I think the best way for us to get into this is just to tell you a bit about what we've been going through personally, because we've both been struggling. And even though we share a lot of the same energies, we work through things differently. Mm-hmm. And always when we get together, we can always, it seems like we get the most accomplished, but we can't always be together. There's time alone that we have to spend in this working through and thinking of everything. And so I'm just trying to think like where we want to start as far as personal experiences go. Do you want to start, or do you want
me to start? Okay. I mean, everything is happening on so many levels, but the primary challenge for me at this sort of cross at the roads has been what I do and where I send my energy. I'm a person, I don't know if any of you watching know anything about me, or I don't know if I've talked about it a lot, but I channel primarily for a living. It's what I do. I channel for clients. I channel on this platform. I channel on another public platform. And I've been receiving a lot of anxiety about my work. It's always been that I was excited to channel and I was excited to help people. I was excited to bring through energies for them. I was excited to bring through the messages of the beings who wanted to speak. It was exciting for me, and it made me feel good to be helping people. And this is what this period of time has really had me focusing on. They're really making me look at why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's not even necessarily that I need to change what I'm doing, but the reasons behind what I'm doing, they're really having me look at them. The anxiety has been about, well, why are you doing these things? Are you doing them more out of your own joy? Or are you doing them because you feel obligated to people and you feel you need to live up to other people's expectations and you feel you have to be there for everyone all the time? And it helped me to realize that a lot of my unconscious motivation for these things was a fear of failure. I have to be on all the time. I have to be in service of other people all the time. Or I'm not doing a good job, or I'm not a good person if I'm not constantly in service, if I'm not giving all of the time. A lot of this comes from my childhood. A lot of us, I'm sure, have childhoods like this. But that's what was coming up for me. So they're like, we need you to, if you're going to continue to be a channel, if you're going to continue taking clients, if you're going to continue to do this as a job, you need to do it out of your own motivation. And you need to take some time away if you're drained, and you need to do it for your own joy and not to fulfill other people only. I wasn't having a good balance. I was kind of dragging myself forward because I felt obligated to other people. So they had me step back. I haven't taken a client for a couple of months. I haven't channeled publicly for at least a month now. And I wasn't sure if I was going to, because none of us should be doing things because we feel obligated to other people. We shouldn't keep on any path because we're afraid of how other people might take it if we don't perform for them or we don't live up to their expectations. And maybe you keep doing what you're doing, and all it takes is an internal shift in saying, well, I'm going to do this because I want to. And if other people don't like how I do it, then that's not their problem. And I have the right to do things how I want to do them, when I want to do them. And if it doesn't serve me anymore, then I don't have to feel like I keep having to do these things because of what other people expect of me. So a lot of it for me has been reevaluating my expectations of myself, where I'm giving my energy. And I realized I was giving it a lot to other people. And that's why I've been so tired all the time, because I felt like I was doing these things because I had to, not because I wanted to. So they've had me pull back and kind of rebalance that so I can go forward with more energy and in a stronger way and in a more powerful way. Because if you're always giving, then you're always going to be drained. So that's what it's been like for me. I don't know if I explained that very well, but it hasn't necessarily been a whole change of path, but it's been reevaluating the energy behind why I'm doing what I'm doing.
I think that was excellent. And I've been on a similar path, although there's been some variances in there, but definitely when I'm looking outside myself versus looking inside myself. I think I've been tested on that, or not even tested, but I've been brought to realize that anytime I look outside myself, it doesn't go well. It doesn't go well. I've always struggled with feeling acceptance. And part of that, I think a lot of us struggle with, is feeling acceptance. And I think a lot of times we get really excited when we meet people who seem to have things in common with us, or that we can learn new things. And that's all and well and good, because we need to be pushed. But for me, it came a point where I realized that how much of other people's opinions and pushing of what they feel is right versus what I feel is right in this now, how much of their expectations am I going to allow to be me, to build me up, to keep me going in who I am. And it's something that hasn't been easy, because I consider myself someone who doesn't. I've always went to the beat of my own drum. I've never really. This is very confusing, but I've never really felt the need to be who I'm not. But I've also felt the need to conform to society in certain ways so that I can be a productive member of society, right? So that means I learn how to make friends. I learn how to, I don't know, do things that society expects, right? Like, I don't know, I can't even think of anything at the moment, but the long and short of it is, there's certain things we have to do for our 3D life, right? We have to have a place to live. I mean, it's nice if we have a place to live. It's nice if we can pay bills. Those are the things we have to do. But when it comes to other people projecting themselves onto you, that's where I've struggled. And I've realized that I think there's a lot of people in my life who like me up until a point, but then if it doesn't work with them when I stand up for myself, it doesn't work. And that's only made me realize that you can be around people because you enjoy their company and because everybody has a good time together. But the moment somebody starts putting their expectations of what they want you to be, that's where I've realized there comes a line where I have to say, am I going to accept that? Am I going to change to be what this person wants me to be? Or am I going to say, thank you, it's just not me at this moment? And so I've done a lot of that. And throughout these last couple months, I've seen a lot of people come and go into my life. And it's not always easy to realize that paths are drifting apart. Or that you're not seeing eye to eye, because it's not always that you're right. It's just that people have different worlds. They have different expectations. They have different visions. So it's when you notice those things to just keep going on your path versus feeling like, in order to have friends or in order to be accepted, you have to give pieces of yourself away. So that's what I've been really struggling with. And it's been a really great learning curve. The other thing I've been struggling with is the changing of the world and what that means for a person who runs a business. The world is changing. I have to change with it for the business to keep growing. I have to deal with, for example, COVID has really put a crunch on glass bottles. You wouldn't know this, but a lot of things have been affected by COVID. So our business deals with glass bottles because we are an apothecary. And so working around these issues and still having bits of yourself left to be empathetic to the customers who are writing in, because if any of you are the ones who have to deal with emails for businesses, you know that you can kind of see the waves of energy come in and how it really affects people. And so part of it for me has been reserving some of that empathy and allowing I'm not even sure how to explain this, allowing my empathy to grow, because it's not only me who's struggling, it's a lot of people who are struggling. And it's one thing to know what you need for yourself and work on yourself. That's all and well, and we have to do that. But we also have to have this other part of us that sees when somebody is struggling, and if there's something we can do, whether it's just a hug or whether it's something, a smile like that. So I've been working on balancing that, because when you're going through all of this energy work and you, not energy work, but yeah, when you're going through this energy work and you are so drained from the things you're going through, it's hard sometimes to want to show, the elderly woman who's walking out with the cart, like show her a smile, because she needs it. And so I've been really working with that as well as what I want my future to be. Do I want to? What is the business bringing? Like, is this the way I want to go with things? All of this stuff is who was I when I started this business? Who am I now that I have this business? What's changed in between? Do I still resonate with what I'm doing? How can we make these things work? So there's all these paths. Like the business thing is a path in itself. The working on like your energetic stuff is a path in itself. All of these things are separate paths that you have to kind of figure out where you're going with this. And also, who do you want by your side? Do you want someone who doesn't really, who expects you to be somebody you're not? Or do you want to see what the universe has planned and see if you can meet some new people and see what happens? All of these things. So it's been a big thing with boundaries for me. I know that was like a really long-winded thing, but it's been this big thing with boundaries and reclaiming misused power that was sent out, and just reclaiming bits and pieces of myself, and looking at this new me and seeing that it's different from where I was even a year ago, and getting to learn the new me and where I want to go into the future. So I see we have a lot of questions here, and thank you guys for commenting. So let's start. Oh, go ahead. What, Nikki?
Oh, no, I'm just saying thank you for being here, and thank you for commenting. Sometimes we get a little stuck because we don't know what to say because there's no comments. So thank you for all your comments.
All right. So Curious Light Channeler says, I was wondering, has anybody else been struggling with gathering white magic through the chakras recently? Purification is so tough.
I've personally had an experience. Well, I'm constantly experiencing the white magic. If you're doing the white magic, then you're constantly experiencing it, probably for the remainder of the incarnation. Personally, for me, the solar plexus was super tough. I went through a second dark night of the soul when I had my solar plexus purification with the magic. Not to say that you have to go through that, but a lot of karmatic stuff comes up with the solar plexus, a lot of power struggles, power issues, personal empowerment issues that you've had come up with the solar plexus. You're forced to face a lot of situations like that with the solar plexus. So if that's where you are, I'm sending you energy. You will move through it, you'll get through it, and you will feel so much better when you're done with the solar plexus stuff. I don't know where I am in my magic. I think last time I checked, I was almost full up on the solar plexus, but it takes a long time. That one, I think it takes almost a year. So I'm right there with you. It's a lot that comes up, but you're definitely not alone. Just love yourself through it. That's the most important part. If you were someone who would judge yourself about things about you, place judgments on yourself, be hard on yourself, this is the time to send kindness to those things. And when you do that, they can clear out a lot faster. That was my method for dealing with the harsher parts of the solar plexus anyway. I don't know if you have any advice about that, Temple.
I can only speak from my personal experience, but with the whole collecting of white magic, it seems like things were working. I was working through stuff and the white magic was filling up. But then even when the white magic would fill up in certain chakras, it wasn't 100% clean. Like it's not going to clean out those chakras 100%. So you will still have things coming up, even though, let's say you have worked through your sacral chakra, you work through a different chakra, you're still going to have things that come up that you have to work through. And those things, from my understanding, this is just my personal understanding, so take it with a grain of salt. What I have come to understand is that the white magic only clears out enough that it needs. So it's not going to clear out the entire chakra, which means that certain things that come up, it's going to clear out like the easiest stuff first. But then you're going to have a lot more difficult things that are going to come up. And that mixed with the differentiating energies that are coming in can slow down the magic, the white magic gathering a little bit. But it's also something then that I think a lot of us forget that we need to ask for it. So wherever you are, if you're doing this at night or like in bed or out by a tree or whatever, remember to just ask Gaia out loud or ask with your thoughts, to help get your gathering of magic collected. Because if you don't actually ask for it, it's going to come in slower.
Yes, and you can also ask Gaia. If you took the classes, you probably know this. You can ask Gaia to increase the level of white magic in your area, so you might be able to gather it a bit quicker. You can also ask to gather it, provided you don't have to be doing other things in astral. I was told that I gather a lot of magic when I'm working on ley lines in astral. Your astral self can help you gather magic too. And I just wanted to note also, you're talking about purification. I know that the purification process happens differently for everyone. We all express ourselves, we all clear things out in different ways, but there is nothing too strange that you can do to get those emotions out of you. If you need to turn on some music and dance like a crazy person, do that, because it will help you move it out. If you need to turn on the radio or sing in the shower or even like primal scream, do that. It will help you move it out. If you need to sob into a pillow and, punch a pillow, do that. Like, it helps to get things out physically, and everybody has different ways of expression, but don't limit yourself when you feel these heavy things coming up, when you feel this purification energy coming in really strongly. Allow your body to help you release it, whether it's through movement, voice, music, dancing, moving, speaking, light language, whatever you need to do, follow that. Because I've had times where I had to ask my husband to leave the house so that I could scream, because I knew that the screaming was going to help me release some of that energy and do the purification. So really listen to your body and don't judge yourself, because I've been dancing around this house, sobbing like a crazy person, dancing around my house, screaming like a crazy person, and it's helped me move things out. So your body is really here to help you move emotions out. So that's all that I wanted to add about that.
Yeah, and I'm going to stress it again. It's so important what Maggie is talking about. A lot of us, we forget that we have to use our free will to ask for these things. We have to use our free will to help purification. It can come in, but if we don't release the stuff it's trying to bring out, and a lot of times that's physically, release it physically, whether it's crying or whatever, it won't release properly, because you need to get that out so you have more room for more energies to come in. So hopefully all those things have been helpful. Let's see. Blue Star 44 says, personally, it's been horrible. I'm in a spot of they're testing my trust with them, as in the guides and the universe. I'm currently pregnant, due in September, and the father isn't around after he lied about having a vasectomy.
Oh, no.
So I just really am having trust issues on the universe on this one. I'm so sorry to hear that you are struggling. As far as guides, I know that my guides recently got swapped, and I'm not too thrilled with it, but we can should we send her some energy to help with, yeah.
Yes, that's
Or I don't know, and I don't know if anybody else has anything to say as far as, I'll have to check in to see who's here after we.
Well, let's send the energy first, and everyone, if there's anyone else here who's experienced this energy is for you, Blue Star, of course, but if there's anyone else who's experiencing similar issues, please be open to receiving if it's in your free will to do so, because we want to help all of you guys if it applies.
Yeah. Iskada anala ete shikata ehene. Ele eku utogu unoskoto bolo hotok sokoto la atiaskata la hasana. Iaku unoskoto bukoto na alakiata iaskanana atiapuko kala ete heske pushu. Asana ete enembeke ete le epuku hama nayeskeneshe te ele ekepe ete muhutus hutuma ni ele kepe shakuto na ala na ala. The grandmothers are saying, we are here, my darling. Please give us your woes. Please confide in us. We are here to comfort you. Naskatala hatias puhushukonombo okole de pekene ete kuskutu hulu shununum ma alatia poskutu hulu ushukutu aniate le eshenene ne ekeputu puhumohutu salaheshete butudu tuturia te ateana tu skadriale ete tele ete galaskada ushukuno huno mahalasiana shakat biapoto pahala Bunuskutu Shaniaskata. Namaste.
It's the grandmothers for me too.
Yep.
Dalisha eshamula, lehusha asapesheta suke eshamula hete. Moosha lohoseta pa esetuma muluholete. Moshale eshutuku shula pusha leisha. Musha lachasa lachasha. Buluchotumalaya shati ishatapu lishuchotamana sakatilihasa la hopulu mania leete bulukosha hela shuku shumayasha hayasha tikeasha pukala hatamukona lahana luhuta lahana lahuta yashata tila ashatu maana sakiti. They're telling me and showing me what a powerful woman you are, and they are mourning with you these losses of trust that you have experienced in your life recently. I'm sure that you will be able to pick up on their energy. They are holding you through this time of sadness, they are saying, anguish, they are saying, and you are safe in their arms. Release your sadnesses to them. Release your anguish to them. Release your disappointment to them. They will help you heal it. They are the wise elders. They are the wise grandmothers. You have put so much trust in others because you were not taught that it was safe to have trust in yourself. Now is a difficult lesson for you. We know. I feel like I want to cry here. This is how much emotion they feel for you. We know. But this is a time where you are learning how strong you are, that you do not need to put your faith in others. For your heart is the mightiest healer. Your heart is the mightiest rock. You are so much more powerful than you know. And they will be here with you to help you heal and to help you integrate that trust and that energy back into yourself that maybe you have given to other people, or you were taught that you had to give to other people. They are helping you to call that back now. I don't know if you have any messages from them, Temple, too, but that's what they're saying to me.
I'm hearing the grandmothers and the angels, and they're saying that now is the time to take back your power, to cut the cords with that which does not serve you anymore. We are here to help you, my dear. We are here to help all of you. Please call on Mother, Father, God. Please call on us, and we will, if you are willing, we are ready to sever those cords, to give you back that energy, to give you back that trust, so that you can learn to build yourselves up, and you can learn that it is okay to feel stuck, to feel sadness, to feel like you don't know what tomorrow will bring and you cannot bear it. Please let the grandmothers hold you. Please let us, the angels and Mother and Father God, crush those cords. I would say sever, but I would crush those cords so that your energy is not leaking. You need to reserve your energy now, for you carry within you a beautiful spark of energy, a beautiful child that will bring so many smiles to this planet, who will bring its energy to this planet in this important time. You will also learn to love in a way in which you were not shown. In many ways, this is a growing phase for you. There is much to look forward to, but please know that you can take command of the leakages, of the trails that have been attached to those who are not serving your highest timeline, who are not serving your good. You have us, you have the grandmothers, you have so many collectives. So please know that you can use us, call upon us. Let us help you release this emotion so it does not get pent up. You have much to release, they just keep saying much to release, much to release. It must go, it is time. They're saying if you are ready, we will give the codes through the girls to start this process, and then you can pick it up when you feel the right time is. Yes, when you feel the right time is. Are you getting confirmation on that, Maggie?
I am.
Okay.
Let me see. Should we send them? I guess we can send them out, and if people want to receive them, that is their free will. I think they need to go out.
I think they do too. And I feel the Dragon Collective. I'm sure Donna is with you, but Donna, I feel the Dragon Collective here as well. And the elementals. There's a lot of collectives, a lot of divine feminine collectives, but also other collectives as well. So everybody is coming in.
There are divine masculine collectives as well. I don't know. We haven't worked much with the divine masculine collectives yet, but they are mourning the death of the true divine masculine as it happened on this world. And especially for women who are struggling with the divine masculine, they are here to help support them and help to bring back that balance and help to give hope to this planet, to bring the divine masculine as well back into his honor and integrity and power. So they are here to send their energy for this too. Only balance can restore things. All good things must come to the proper balance, and the divine feminine masculine must work in conjunction with each other for this to happen. They must work together. That's what they are saying.
Yeah, I love that. And you know what? And I can actually feel that Ramses popped in too now. So I'm very blessed that I'm actually able to feel that again. Okay, so does Ra just want to have us give the codes, or is there anything else?
No,
Okay.
just the codes.
All right. I feel like we should speak together, actually. I don't know if, are you receiving that confirmation too, or do you want to do it separately?
Yeah, I feel like the masculine is on my side and maybe the feminine collect. I feel like it's about gonna be a balancing. So let's start at the same time.
I feel the Magdalene collective too. So,
Right.
okay. So those of you who want to take part in this, who are ready to just cut any cords that no longer are serving you, that you feel you are ready to take back some of your sovereignty, some of your power, just allow this and say, I accept. And that's all that's needed. If you're not ready, you can come back any other time you feel ready and still receive them. So.
Yes, or ask your higher self and guides to help you receive them in the timing and the gentleness that is correct for you.
Perfect. Okay, do you want to count down?
Sure. 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Ishatu kutu maika lokupo shoya tukushu meyata aita ita itoko maese no maya aishu kute maishu muyoto mayoto ita kashiyasha yono yono Tuko paikasha la hito kuto maikanda to yetoko hito mokoto shati monsoto 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 aino 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 no no aisho to kisho no misha ikisho to maisha tamaishi motokasha te oya hatano mono yuto yuka tukoshe tukeyasa tuki mai mama. Oh, wow.
I have eyeliner going everywhere. All right, so we need to come together to recharge. I always feel better when I listen to these videos and listen to like-minded people. That's so sweet. Thank you.
I always feel like I'm recharging just talking to you guys too. It helps a lot because we're all going through similar stuff.
So Curious Light Channeler says, I wanted to shed some light on my shadow side. And I wanted to say, how come I take pleasure from negativity like drama and TV and such things like this? What can I do to let go of these things? This is part of that. This is part of that programming since you were little. This is how they, because if you take pleasure from things like negativity on drama or TV or all of these things, it amps you up, it amps this energy up, and then the energy can be fed to whomever. It's like it's free for the taking. So it's basically like the Pavlov effect, where they ring the bell and and the dog drools. That's exactly what's happening. And so to reverse that, I think I know I've personally gone through this as far as just detoxing from drama. I used to have this thing where I loved watching or being involved in any sort of drama, whether that meant, like family drama or like television drama. I used to be able to watch like shoot 'em up movies and not have a visceral reaction to it. And it was like calming to me, but now I can't even watch them. And I think for me personally, the first thing that helped me get through it was to recognize, like, you've already recognized that this is something that is a part of you and you don't like it. So you want to let go. So the next thing that I did after I recognized that is every time I would see myself watching these things or seeing the drama happen and unfold around me, I would try to remove myself from it. And it's not easy. Like, in the beginning, it takes you a while to realize these things are happening because you're just so used to it. But eventually after constantly removing myself from it, turning off the TV, and also, like, when I would have thoughts, I've spoken about this in a couple of other videos, but when I would have like negative thoughts in my brain, I would say, you are not my thought process. Like, I don't accept you. You must leave. And that's part of taking sovereignty over yourself too. So you can say those things out loud. Like, I recognize this, but I, in my sovereignty, am not standing for this anymore. So I'm going to turn it off. You no longer have that effect over me. I no longer allow you to have that effect over me. And so what this is doing is, instead of just seeing something and getting a reaction and then like stepping away, it's actually, by speaking out loud, it's reprogramming your brain and your body faster than it would be to just step aside. Mm-hmm. So that's why in all of these things of how we reprogram what the humans have been taught to live their lives like, to see, to feel, to view, it works much faster if we can speak it out loud, because there is this connection with speaking it directly that the brain picks up, which is a lot faster. Do you want to add anything to that?
Yes, I can totally relate to you, because I love reality TV and I love drama on TV, and I really, really was obsessed with it before. And thinking about it, it's because I had a lot of drama in my family, and I wasn't a person who was treated very kindly within my family. So to watch all of this drama unfold on TV, it's kind of like, instead of having everyone judging me all the time, I can watch the train wrecks that are happening on TV and feel a bit better about myself and kind of pass the buck of judgment on to somebody else. I think that's why I like them so much, because it helped me to distract myself from how bad I was feeling about myself being judged in similar ways. So when I started healing more and having more compassion for myself, I actually started to enjoy reality TV less, because I started to feel bad for everybody. They're all going through these terrible situations and everybody's in drama on reality TV. And I started to have compassion for them, and it started to lose its charm to me. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I still do love a nice episode of something on, Bravo once in a while. And I think that's okay. You don't have to totally cut yourself off. But if you can understand why you like it so much and why, like, you seem so drawn to it, it's probably something within yourself that you're trying to patch over or band-aid over. At least for me, it was. So try to have compassion for yourself, maybe like in the ways that it's fun for you to watch or make fun of or judge people on reality TV. And maybe once you stop doing that, you'll find that you're not drawn to it so much, because for me, it was really a part of me that was asking for healing. And I was just using this as an outlet to not feel those feelings. I could feel them about someone else instead of feeling them about myself. So I don't know how helpful that is, but that helped me to stop watching that kind of stuff so much. But I still do watch it every now and then, and it's still a fun time every now and then. So I don't think we should be too hard on ourselves about things.
Yeah, like I even though I can't tolerate a lot of those movies, there are some things like my husband really likes like the Avenger movies or the Marvel movies. And um a part of me really likes them. And then a part of me is like, oh man, I'm having so many flashbacks. Like I have to remain calm from like super soldier time. And so part of me hates watching them and part of me absolutely likes it. So like, it's this thing, but you know, I don't, I don't do it all the time. And a lot of the times it actually helps me work through things that I thought I had worked through. And then I realized that I didn't. Um, So, okay, let's see. I find this very interesting, Maggie, because Maggie and I experience things like this all the time. When we're working on ourselves and we do something for the good of ourselves and we detach things or we stand in our sovereignty or we're working on us, all of a sudden those things that we detached from come crawling back, trying their best to get reattached. Mm-hmm. And so then it becomes up to you, Blue Star 44, on like if you detached from the other person and all the cords were cut, if you pick that phone up, if you choose to pick that phone up, that's a cord reattaching. And that's not necessarily a wrong thing. It's just a choice. And then you can break that cord again, how many ever times you want to break it until you're ready to break it for good. I guess that's what there's no right or wrong. It's just all about timing, so, but just be aware, I guess, that in my experience anyway, when those things happen, you're doing something good for yourself and trying to break off something that is not healthy for you. And that person all of a sudden happens to magically call or text out of nowhere during this time. It's because they felt that they maybe didn't feel it, but somehow they felt it. They felt that cord detach, and they're scrambling to try to get it attached. Go ahead.
That person is dependent on your energy, probably in an unconscious way. So when you pull your energy back, they feel empty in that way because they weren't using their own energy to fill whatever voids they have. They were using your energy to do that. And that's not fair. And that's draining on you. So answering the phone at a time like this, I mean, I've done it before. I think we're all guilty of doing stuff like that before. Yeah. You can do it, but you have to do it. If you have to answer in sovereignty and with your full power. And if you need to, call in all of your guides, call in all the angels, call in Mother, Father, God, say, I need to keep my energy and have this conversation. He is not allowed to take my energy again. Please keep all of my energy with me. Put up protection for me. Put up shields for me. And then I can talk to him. But I do not allow my energy to go back to this person in a way that is draining for me. And if you're not able to have that kind of conversation, that kind of self-empowered conversation right now, because you're going through healing, which is totally fine, then it can wait. He can wait. He can wait for you to talk to him until you are feeling better, because you're the most important person in this situation, especially given that you have a child on the way. It's your health and the health of your child that's the most important thing. Everything else can wait. You're number one.
Exactly. And I've done that myself, where when a phone call comes in, I haven't answered it, and then I ask for protection and stand in my sovereignty and say, my energy they're not able to access my energy. My energy is my own. I don't want any of their energy. And then once you feel like you're protected and you have voiced exactly what you want to happen, then I've called them back. So it's all about understanding how easily your energy and your emotions are siphoned from you or attached to something else. In the human, we don't see it. It's hard for us to understand just how easy it is to send a string out and get it attached. And that's something that I think both Maggie and I are trying to become more aware of. And that's part of understanding where all your energy is going. And it's not an easy thing, because there's things you realize, you think you got it mostly figured out, and then there's more stuff that pops up, that stuff that you thought you healed a while ago, but you never really broke the cords from it or stood in your sovereignty to say that you cut off energy from this person and you break the cord. So even if you haven't spoken to them in a long time, like it's still there. It's still there. And a lot of these things are tricksy. They're very, very tricksy.
I agree.
So, Curious Light Channeler says, I'm so thankful I'm aware of these things, these unhealthy attachments and behaviors. Yeah, it really opened my eyes to see the way our society is structured in a new way. The more disconnect society can bring, the more hate, the more loathing, the more coveting, the more all of this like weird stuff. Like the more they can keep people at odds, the more they want to focus on this is one of my things where I don't believe the soul has a color. We're all the same. The more they want to keep people at each other's throats, the longer it's going to take for us to stand together and realize that we're all the same. It doesn't matter our background. It doesn't matter. We're all the same. So recognizing these things, recognizing these attachments and how and where our energy gets pulled and how it can be used against us without us even knowing or understanding is the first step in bringing it back, I think, to be able to choose what you want for your new beginnings versus what everybody else wants for your new beginnings.
Exactly. And it's so complicated in our society, our world. The matrix is set up in a way where if you take off a cord here from somewhere your energy is being drained, then you find another one here, because the world is set up in a way where our energy is being drained to the max. You're always giving to something and somebody else. And even if you think that you reclaimed all of these things and you think that you've taken your energy back, you're giving in these other ways because they have it set up so intricately that even sometimes when you think you're in your power, you're giving your energy away. So it's a really tricky onion to get to the center of, and we are constantly working on seeing the ways that we could be more sovereign. Our energy is being taken in a way that we didn't realize before. And that's just the nature of the world that we live in. But to start to see the patterns really does help.
Right, exactly. And then when we start to see the patterns and we start to heal ourselves, that's when we can truly understand what it's like to go through these things, because it's the same thing. Like we enjoy coming and talking to you guys about the things we're going through and the things we're learning. But when you understand it because you had to go through it, it's easier for you to have compassion for somebody else who is going through it and who needs just some love and some compassion of their own in order to work through what they're working through. And that's how we work on healing the world. And so like one of the things I keep thinking about, the Zeta Reticuli. I don't even know why this is popping in my head, but one of the things was there was at one time a timeline of the humans like losing how to feel and losing how the intimacy and things like that and losing the compassion. And that's what the Zeta Reticuli were from. But then they came back and then they had to get help with the DNA to like put that back into the population, because it is so important, this feeling and these emotions and working through them and allowing them to come out. the surest way to keep going down the same path that you've always been going down is to ignore your emotions coming up, is to not let them out, is to just assume that they're going to work themselves out. And sometimes they do, but like you really need to work on yourself and work with yourself, because in the end, you are the only one who can do it for you. Nobody else can, right? So
Very true.
So Blue Star says, they called 3 times, so I answered, and he was angry because I wouldn't get up and rush to meet him for dinner. He hasn't seen me in basically 2 months. Isn't that interesting that
Wow.
she breaks a cord and he hasn't seen her in like 2 months, and now he wants dinner? And these are hard things, like, because you crave that. I mean, anybody craves to be seen by somebody, right? To be known by somebody. And so I can see where it's difficult on a lot of levels, because you might want to work it out if that's what you think is best for the child, or if it's not best to work it out because it's not going to work out for you. But like humans crave intimacy and knowing and togetherness. And so I can understand where it's so frustrating. And then all of a sudden, like, you're trying to do something for yourself to pull your energies back. And then all of a sudden there's a call and you're like, I'm going to be strong. I'm not going to answer it. But the call keeps persisting and trying to wear you down. And like, this is normal human stuff. This is what we're all going through. So you pick it up and then you're like, oh my God, like now there's like dinner plans and I haven't seen you in so long. And like, now you want dinner with me. So I understand it's complex. There's nothing easy about having experiences here in the human world and dealing with other humans and their emotions and their world. It's not easy.
No, it's not. And most people don't have a handle on their emotions. They don't know why they feel how they feel. And most people are really bad at maintaining and regulating where they're sending their emotions. I would, I don't, you can make the decision that you would want, but please don't allow anyone else to manipulate you with anger or guilt or anything that makes you feel bad for not submitting to their will. It's not about his happiness and what he wants. It's not about living up to his expectations of how he expects you to perform or how you to be as a partner, a friend, a mother, any of that. It's about how you want to be. It's about where your energy feels comfortable. You are not obligated ever to live up to anyone's expectation of you. So if you choose to do it, please say to yourself, I'm doing this out of my own personal power because I want to go do this. I want to establish a line of communication that's healthy. I want to take my power back. I want to show him who I am. It doesn't have to be any of these reasons, but do it for you, and don't feed into the energy of doing it because he's mad and now I feel rushed because he's mad and now I feel guilty and I feel chaotic because he's mad. If he's mad, he can deal with his own anger. It's not your problem. Those are his emotions, and you're not his mother. It's not your job to fix them. I'm sure that you already know this, but I'm a person who feels particularly strongly about these things because I can relate to this a lot in my own life. And I've had to work through a lot of similar things with relational people where I let them manipulate me, and it's not correct. And I hope that you are staying strong and you are feeling good about how things are going.
Yes, I completely agree, Maggie. And this is like the everyday stuff that we struggle with to work on. I completely agree with what you said. I can't add anything more to it. Curious Light Channeler says, isn't it funny how we're all connected? I can see the synchronicities in this conversation. Earlier, when Maggie mentioned punching a pillow, my brother told me he bought a punching bag and it's available for me to punch.
Oh, perfect. That sounds great. I would love a punching bag.
It's so funny. I was thinking about that today with the stuff that I was going through. I was thinking, like, how do I what are my personal coping mechanisms for releasing all these emotions, whether they be pain or anger, whatever. What is it? And a lot of times I keep thinking, I need a punching bag. I need a punching bag. But then I was like, no, seriously, like you don't have a punching bag. So like, how do you do it? Because you've obviously been doing it, but how do you do it? And I guess for me, I do a lot of crying. Like I'm not like I don't let people see me cry. So I do it at bed, when I go to bed. A lot of times I take naps. I go for really long walks. Or the one thing that I've realized that I do is I write in my book. So that's why all of a sudden my book is getting like near completion, because I've been writing in it a lot lately. I've had a lot to work through.
Oh, well, that's something we didn't mention. That's such a good way to get energy out, is to send it out with writing, send it out with words, send it out with pen to paper. That's a great way too. I didn't think about that one.
Right. And it's helped me in a lot of ways, because as I'm writing, whatever specific time frame I'm located in the book, I'm being able to visualize how these things are reoccurring. These same feelings are reoccurring, the stuff that I'm working on. And so it's better help me separate stuff in my brain enough to understand in my heart that either it's something I've already worked through, and this was just the tail end of kind of bringing it all together and realizing that this is a portion I can move on now, or it's something that I've realized that I still need to do some work. But at least writing in that way has helped me kind of map it out in the long term. And I never realized that before until I actually sat down to think about it, because I was thinking a punching bag would be amazing.
Maybe that's what we should get each other for Christmas.
I think we should. Like in the yoga room, I'm like, guess what, honey? Like, we got to hang a punching bag.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Curious Light Channeler. It really makes me want to get one now.
I know, me too. It really, really does. I don't even know. Like, I know in my other selves, like, super soldier or like fourth dimension or whatever, my spirit self, I'm an amazing like puncher. But like the only time I was goofing around with a friend and I like punched them, I broke my knuckle, and it's called a boxer's fracture, because boxers tend to break these knuckles in half. So that's like my only like, like real punching thing, other than my brother's tooth. But we need punching bags. That's that. So Blue Star 44 says, I know I didn't want to, but I wanted to see. And then I just definitely broke it again and asked for help again and pushed the energy. Good for you.
Good for you.
Good for you. Because
I'm proud of you.
It's not about just doing it the first time and getting it done. It's about working through it at your own pace, and then realizing as you're working through it how much power you have within you and how much sovereignty you have to control the things around you that society wants you to believe are not controllable.
Yes.
It's controllable. So good for you. I'm really proud of you. So I declined the invite. He says he only had 30 minutes to, yeah, it just seems very fishy. Let's sit down for dinner, but I only have 30 minutes.
Right. And then you have to meet his time
His
frame.
standards.
It's not a give and a take. So,
and sorry, I'm all like worked up now.
Yeah, me too.
That's the problem with the way the divine masculine and the divine feminine is set up in this inverted version that it currently is at. It's instead of the male and female working together as a side-by-side couple who both have good things going and they can help each other and support each other, it's always that, the male is trying to assert his authority over the female. And if the female attempts to assert her authority to like match the male, then he takes that as like he's got to keep his honor. And like, it's this big deal with him. And then he tries to go up here, and then you're left being like, oh my God, like I just wanted to work together and like be equal. It's this weird equality thing. And we have to fix it somehow. We're going to figure it out.
I agree. And I think that, not that we're saying this, but I don't think that either the male collective or the feminine collective continues this dynamic purposefully. I don't think that men are trying to push down women and women are they're not trying to fight with each other. We're just conditioned from being very young as little girls and little boys to act certain ways and accept certain things. And when you grow up and you have to be in real adult relationships, it doesn't work.
Exactly. Well said. Yes. I declined. Okay. I don't want to be attached anymore. I'm going to have to work through this alone with my guides tonight as well, but thank you so much for helping. You are so welcome. And we are here for you. So
Yes,
definitely.
And the grandmothers too, they're so great to work with, and they are so loving and caring, and anybody can call on them at any time. And they've helped me in Temple a lot, both, me and her together and individually. They're a wonderful collective to work with.
Yes. And that's one of the collectives that we kind of forget about or tend to not think about, but they definitely want you to work with them and talk with them and let them cuddle you and let them, tell you it's going to be okay and be a grandmother the way grandmothers are meant to be. Yep. Exactly. So that is all we have for now as far as the chat goes. Did Ra want to come through and say anything today?
He's saying that he'll come through before we do the codes, but he doesn't have anything else to say. Or not in this moment, he doesn't. Maybe if someone has a question that pertains to him, he'll come through. But he doesn't have a general message right now.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions for Ra? You can put them in and we can get them answered when he comes through. So I guess the one experience that I've recently gone through has been this, I don't even know, I guess the thing that I consider it an egg. And I thought maybe I would just explain a little bit about like what was happening to me before I realized that I had this energetic egg around me. And you can use it as a metaphorical egg too, but let me explain this. So I've gone through this a couple times in my life. So when I was getting out of the super soldier program, various groups, high dimensional groups would, here, let me just change the view. There we go. Okay, so high dimensional groups who, and the super soldier program would come together and they would come with this technology and they would put me into this energetic egg. So for myself, what I experienced was this in this egg, and it took me forever to figure out that I was actually in an egg. It was almost like this force field that they put around me where it blocked a lot of the things that were coming in for me. It blocked all the good stuff. So they do it in this weird way where it builds up layer by layer and you don't really realize it's happening. So the first time I realized that it was happening, and this is a blockage for me. So I would get discouraged and not want to continue with, getting out of the program and my missions and all this stuff. And so eventually you start going down. Your idea of worthiness, like you feel just like shit. You feel like you're not worthy, that you have no worth. You experience these extreme, at least I did. I experienced these extreme highs and lows where 1 minute I could be connected to my team. And then the next minute for like days, I would hear nothing. I could not feel energy around me. So I think most of you can relate, when you are a person who is acquainted with other energies, other dimensions, other densities, and that's how you live, when you constantly have connection, being tapped in, being able to feel the beings around you, when that's taken away, it feels very awkward. It feels very out of place. It feels like someone picked you up and just put you into a vacuum of nothingness. It feels very strange. And this happens little by little. So by the time you're like realizing what's going on, it's already been this way for a long time. So I had that. I had no air movement around me. So if I would sit down and the air conditioner was on, I wouldn't be able to feel the air conditioner hit me, which is how strong this energy egg was. My pendulums, like I have this very specific, we can actually do a thing about pendulums. I have this very specific thing that I say with the pendulums because I don't want my own thought process to get mixed up in it. And they were acting really strange. They were using good news and like inverting it. Everything was so emotionally taxing. And I wasn't able to even feel my own energy. So all of these things, it was like feeling I wasn't able to properly ground myself. I wasn't able to center myself. I got nothing when I meditated. All of these things that were not me were happening. And I haven't had one of those issues for a long time. I haven't had an egg for a long time. But this is one of those things I've been struggling with. I recently was put in one. And every time I get put in one, it's like this technology that they use. And it just kind of withers you away because it's so slow. The downgrading of your system is so slow in your thought process that by the time you know what's going on, they have already infiltrated your energy system so much so that it takes all the strength you can muster, because it's almost like a depression type of thing, but not really a depression. It's very hard to explain. But anyway, that's what I've been going through recently until I finally did this meditation where I was able to break through and had a conversation with my higher self. And my higher self gave me these pictures of what was going on. And I was absolutely shocked to see that I had been in another egg. And so it's this feeling of being in limbo. And then how do you break this egg? Like that's a whole nother thing. But I don't really know where to go from here, but these are the things that I've been feeling. And they do this where it gets inside you almost, where like if you're the center of the egg, if you're the yolk in the egg, you're suspended and it goes through into your 3D. And so I have been working really hard to get myself out of the egg, to take back my own sovereignty. And these are things where like I have done so much work that you would think that I wouldn't be having to deal with this stuff, but that's not the case. And this is where it comes in, where like there's always work to be done. There's always things you have to be aware of. And the more you understand the way the world works and the universe and yourself, the more you have to be aware of what's kind of going on around you. And so I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Maggie, but it's been really tough lately. It's been absolutely tough. And then breaking myself out of it, I actually ended up throwing up, breaking myself out. And like today is the first full day I have been out, and I can feel the breeze again on my face. It's just this weird stuff. And I feel amazing. I feel definitely back to myself. And so it's not easy. Like when you put yourself together and you realize how to function. Oh, let me get this back. When you realize how the world functions and that you have your own sovereignty to function in it the way you want, there's always stuff to work on. So I guess that is that is where I was going with that. That was an ending path. Was I going to let that be an ending path for me, or was I going to fight back and figure out what was going on and get onto my right path that I needed to be on? And I chose the right path, but it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. So Curious Lightworker says, I was wondering, how can I have such vivid memory of the future when it hasn't happened yet? I always see myself in my imagination standing next to a black diamond-shaped UFO. Does that make any sense? Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me. In my experiences, a person can, depending on the person, they can jump to certain possible future timelines. That doesn't mean that in this now that those timelines are going to happen. You could also be jumping to a possible future timeline on a different experience as well. So there's a lot of things that you could be seeing with this. It doesn't always mean that it's going to happen. It just means that you're viewing one probable outcome. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yes. Well, I want to talk about the egg thing, but we're answering a question now. So if there's time after, then I'll talk about that. But a lot of it depends on other ways that you receive information too. I'll get images like this sometimes that they don't really mesh with my now, and they're not an experience that I'm currently going through. It might be something from a future timeline. It might be something that I'm going to have to work on, and they're giving me a flash of a future mission I'm going to have to go on or something. But it depends on the feeling attached to it. Do you feel like a warm, fuzzy feeling? Do you feel like this is your soul family? Do you feel a sense of duty toward this? It might have to do with something upcoming for your mission. Do you feel like this is you in the future? Maybe it's trying to guide you down a certain timeline, or maybe it's trying to warn you against a certain timeline, depending on how you feel when you're experiencing this. So you should trust in your guides, trust in your higher self, ask them, well, what exactly is this that I'm seeing? Is this a probable timeline? Is this a mission thing? Is this a future self thing? And that should help you hone in on what this image that you're receiving is, because they'll give you clues in a lot of different ways to tell you what the context is. For me, an image isn't enough. I will usually get a download with it, or a feeling, or an impression, or something like that. So I don't know if you have anything else to say about that, Temple, but we get stuff like that all the time, and it's never the same what it means.
So I have a couple of things to say. First off, Ramsey's just piped in, and he's like, and don't forget to tell them that it could have been an actual life in the future, because there is no such thing as time. So like, he's like, you and I, we have had future lives, but then we can come back to whatever we want. So it's not like, so what you could be viewing is just a past experience in a future timeline that hasn't happened yet, because in this now it would be in the future, but you've actually already lived it, because there is no such thing as time. So he's very pleased. So there is that possibility as well. The other thing I was going to say, I was just going to give a quick story to give you an example of one of the experiences I had. So a long time ago, I had this experience where it looked very futuristic to me. So like, I didn't know the difference. And I was standing in this area, and there was these moving walls, and these walls had hieroglyphics on them. And it seemed very, like, it didn't seem in the past. It seemed very future-esque. So I wasn't sure. All I got was that, and I had a feeling like there was something I had to solve, and if I solved it, like, then they would pull down, and all would be well. And so this one day I was talking with Ramses, and I was giving him all my ideas of like what this could be. And he's like, no, actually, what you saw was a past experience of when you and I went to Orion, and that's called the Walls of the Kings, and they move, and there's like secret doorways in there. And the reason you felt that is because at that time, your mission was that you had to figure out some problems. So that's an experience of thinking it was in the future, but actually it was in the past, but it looked like something that our nows in the future would be. So it's so hard to tell. But if you do what Maggie was talking about, and talk to your guides and your teams and ask specific questions. I think we've talked about this in the past. They need very specific questions to get a very specific answer. And that is very important. That is part of your free will. So ask those questions, come up with really good specific questions, and then they can get the answers from there.
I have something to add. Sorry.
Yeah.
If you're seeing a future you or what seems like a future you next to this UFO, I've done this before where I've been like, hey, future me, or hey, being that looks like future me, who are you and what are you doing and what message do you have to tell me? Often that will give you some pretty interesting information. Maybe they have some advice for you. That's why they're popping up. Maybe they're trying to lead you in a certain direction, but you can talk to your future self and you can get some pretty interesting information and energy from them if you choose to do so.
Yep. And then also, like, just be aware that all of the extra beings that we talk to, that you talk to, your guides, your teams, whomever, the aliens, whatever you're talking to, remember that you have to trust your heart as far as what path to take. Like, they may want to lead you down a path, but like, if it doesn't feel right, don't do it, because you just don't know. The only thing you know is your true heart. That's the only thing that can lead you to your destiny.
Exactly. And some things you'll receive it and it doesn't make sense now, or it doesn't resonate with you now, but maybe in 3 months you'll remember it and everything will come together. So everything comes together so strangely with these kind of things that it might be right for right now. It might not be right for right now or ever, or it might just not resonate right now because it's trying to help you give you a piece of the puzzle that will come together later. So it always could be so many things.
Right, exactly. Did you want to comment on the egg situation?
The egg situation. Well, I was in a similar egg with Temple because we do a lot of work together and we have a lot of kind of the same people watching us and trying to interfere with us. We could talk about that for a really long time, but for me, the egg was, I think a lot of us are in periods of transition, like how we talked about at the beginning of our talk tonight. And oftentimes, a lot of the emotions that Temple was describing within the egg come as part of the territory with this changing of chapters. You feel antsy in your skin because you know that things are supposed to change, but you feel scared to take a leap forward. So there's all of this chaotic feeling, maybe fear, anxiety, because you're not comfortable where you are anymore, but you don't feel safe to move into a space where you feel comfortable there yet because it's a new chapter. So a lot of the time, if you sit in these energies or attach too much to the discomfort of being in a limbo period between chapters, they can use that to those lower energies to kind of attach lower things to you. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. You're not necessarily in an actual egg if you're experiencing these things. However, I think a lot of people are experiencing these limbo-like symptoms where you kind of feel like you're going to crawl out of your skin because you don't know what's going on and things feel different and the old ways don't feel right, but the new ways feel scary. So this is a really good time to go inside of your heart and talk to God there. However you perceive God, source, however that is for you, all of us have the light of source within our hearts. So commune with that energy within you, because that is a great foundational, grounding, caring force that will help these lower emotions, these chaotic energies to dissipate and kind of shine the light in the proper direction for you. And it can be easy to overlook that sort of guidance, especially when your emotions are heightened and you're feeling a lot right now. So what I like to do and what Temple and I often do together is just take a few seconds to breathe and center within the heart and ask God to help us see through this and see what's going on and see the correct ways to go. Because especially in times like this, especially for me, I can't speak for any of you, but I think a lot of people are going through the same thing. It's so easy to get swept away by by the anxiety of things, by the heightened state of the energies, by all of that. And you can lose your center really easily in these kind of energies. So if you're going through that, please take some time to commune with your heart, and it will help it be a little bit easier. And if you are in some kind of egg, the same way that me and Temple were, you'll be able to see it more clearly. You'll be able to kind of pull away the curtains of things and see the reality of things rather than just the chaos that you're feeling.
Yes, because a lot of this really is about pulling away the curtains of I had a word and then it just totally, it's pulling away the curtains of what we perceive as reality, or what they want you to perceive as reality, and listening to your heart enough to get down to the truth of what's going on. And that's why your truth may not be somebody else's truth, but that doesn't mean it's wrong.
Right.
It's just society has us all programmed in such a way where there's a specific curtain there. And once you can remove that curtain, then you can see the bigger picture. And then when you see the bigger picture and you learn to go within, then you can see your true picture of what is, and get the information that you need. And so it's guides and teams, like those are all really great tools to use, but just don't forget about your heart. That
is the place of peace that you can always find and breathe into when everything seems to be going haywire and you can't seem to ground or get a center. You always have the peace of God within your heart that you can call on and ask on. And if you have faith in that and allow him to bring you some peace so that you can see clearly and make good decisions, he will give that to you. But as Temple said, you do have to ask, because God is never going to interfere with your free will.
Right. And I think maybe at some point we can do a video on this too, but it's about, at least from our understanding, what the source God, like how mother, father, source God actually work with individuals, and how free will works in there, and like all this stuff. Like we're on that learning curve, and at some point we'll be able to hopefully break it down for you guys to make it very easily comprehensible in the way in which we're learning about it. But I think it's a big piece that's missing. It's the piece that's missing everywhere. I mean, nobody talks about mother. Nobody talks about mother. So like right there, that's part of the problem. And what they talk about father is like inverted. And like, so in any case, yes, the hearts are very important. Do you have anything else you want to add, or should I read the next question?
I think that's all, unless anyone has anything else they want to ask or share about their experience with that.
I don't think we have any. We have one more, and then I don't know if you guys have any questions for Ra. Definitely put them down. So Curious Light Channeler says, do you know what you could do is get a quartz crystal egg and smash it on the ground as a symbol of freedom and power? So these eggs, I think that could have been one way to solve the problem. I have been in a couple of them, and everyone is different because it has to do with magic, and it has to do with technology. And so it also has to do with your energy. They wire you in such a way in which they have fail safes in accordance with like your, I don't know, it's complicated and I don't know how to actually explain it, but every single way I've had to get out of an egg has been different. So the very first egg I was in, I didn't realize it. And then all of a sudden I was talking with Archangel Michael, I think, and Mother, Father, God. And like, I think it was Archangel Michael who was like, I'm going to help you. Like I can't do anything for you because you have to stand in your power to do it, but you have to light yourself up enough to push enough power. You have to believe you have enough power to crack the egg. And I was like, okay, so I cracked the egg. And as soon as I cracked the egg, I could actually hear Michael's voice. And I hadn't heard his voice in months. And so it was about keeping everybody on the outside away from me, keeping me like in the solitude of this egg. And from there, then I was able to get help and like get out of it. So then the next egg that came, I couldn't crack it. It was a different egg. It was a different type. So it's all a program. And so what I did then is I finally, like in the Marvel movies, I like lit myself up with all of the power, all of the being that I feel I am. I lit myself up and I let it all go. And it cracked the egg, and the egg went out like this. It stopped, and then it came back together. And so then I had to call in other collectives to help burn the egg to get me out of it. And then Maggie and my story is different than that, even because every time you get put in an egg, it gets more difficult. So we're not saying this is going to happen to you guys. We're just explaining what we were currently dealing with. But there's a lot of like metaphorical types of eggs where you do feel this unworthiness. You do feel like you're just trapped in these energies. And so we do want to give you guys, before we leave, we want to give you guys a activation for clearing, balancing, moving forward, and breaking out of your own eggs, if you guys have them, or out of your own walls, breaking the walls so you can move forward.
Yes,
So,
I think Rob will speak a little bit before that. And I like that crystal egg idea a lot. I don't know if it would have worked for what we personally had. However, the way that we work with energies is specific to us. If we're all alchemists, right? And we're all magicians and creators of our own reality. If you were to buy a crystal egg or have a crystal egg and say, this is all of the ways that I feel constricted and restricted, and these are all of the things holding me in stasis or whatever,
right.
and I'm putting that energy into this egg, and when I break it, I'm releasing myself. Who's to say that that's not a wonderful and amazing method to release your energy? I think that that's a wonderful idea. That's the beauty of this experience, is there's so many ways to work with our realities and move energies around. And we did it this way, but now that you've said this, I kind of want to try it this way in the future, because that's a really cool thing, I think. And the crystal could hold a lot of energy, so you could release a lot from it.
Yeah, I really like that idea. It's like when you write stuff on paper and you burn it. Sometimes it's nice, even though we are energetical beings. We're here in a human body. We're here working in the third dimension. We maybe can reach other densities. We maybe can experience other dimensional energies, but we're still here in this physical human body. So sometimes it's very helpful to be able to have something physical to help you move on to the next step, or break out of something, or remove something, or get rid of something, or whatever, to proceed to the next fork in the path and choose the other fork. So yeah, I'm totally down with that. That's a really good idea. Curious Light Channel also says, now I get it. Everything is here now. It is true. It is true. And the reason it's here now is because you are here now. If you had an incarnation on a different planet, that would be the here and now, but it's still the here and now, because it's always the here and now, no matter where you are, which is confusing. But like, even it's easier to ask questions with this stuff than for me to just start rambling on about like why everything is the here and now. It's easier to ask questions. So if you have questions about that, please ask them and we can delve into it more. But it is true. It is very true. And it's not like you can only, if you would pass, well, let's use Michael, right? Because Michael's on the other side. If he wanted to have a life now in the future, in the very, very future of another planet, like there's no reason that he can't do that. And then his next life after that, come back here and decide where in the Earth timeline here he wants to have a life. So if he goes to that planet over there and has a life there in the future, and then comes back to this planet and has like a life in like, I don't know, like biblical times or whatever, like he may have flashbacks of this really random thing and not quite understand why he has this flashback, but it's a bit more it's very simple, but it's a bit more complicated than that because of how it's all organized and like what you put in your little suitcase to bring with you as far as life experiences. But in truth, you still carry all those life experiences because they're you. It's like, I'm not anybody incarnated. Like I've had past experiences, but I'm not using any of those past experiences, that specific grape of those past experiences to be here now. I have a brand new grape and I may carry those memories from those experiences, but it's all in the here and now. So, okay.
Do people know what you're talking about when you're saying it's a grape?
I have no idea. So let me talk about the grape for just a second, just so we're all on the same timeline. I'm like looking at my messy desk and thinking if there's anything I could grab that would, this might work. Okay, so if this is a cluster of grapes, right? And you have many more holes in this cluster. This is you at the soul level, right? This is all you are. This is you, your soul, your essence, your energy. Okay, so each soul builds a grape vine. And on these holes here are all your experiences that you've had. And so every time you have a new experience, you get a new hole, and that's like a new grape. So that is how I help explain like lives, and later maybe we can get into past lives and fractals and all of that fun stuff that make being a human very complicated that a lot of people haven't figured out yet, but we're getting there. So Curious Light Channeler says, is it possible for me to continue in this life in a clone body from the same human perspective and consciousness when I'm done with this life?
I think you would know more about that.
Okay, let me just break your thing apart so I make sure to get it, because I want to try to keep it as simple as possible. Is it possible for me to continue this life in a clone body from the same human perspective and consciousness? It's possible. Would it likely happen? No. I shouldn't say no. Anything can happen. Chances would be slim. So the reason you would have a clone body is I can only think of like two at the moment. Either you're involved in a super soldier program and they've made clones of you, which are for various reasons. We don't have to talk about that now, but so I'll use my experience. Okay. So in my experience, I have had clones made in the super soldier program. What those are used for is when I went on like a mission that was like 25, 30, 50 years, if they couldn't regress me all the way back, or if something happened to me, they could move my soul, my spirit soul, into one of my clones and then put me back into this now. So I wouldn't have aged and stuff. So in that aspect, or looking at it from that point of view, yes, where you have the same human perspective and consciousness that you had when you left. Yes. But the only other reason you would have a clone body that I know of so this is just from my personal experiences, is that a different race came in and took you and then cloned you, but they wouldn't have cloning you is just cloning the body. It doesn't clone the spirit. It doesn't clone the soul. So like, if they would clone a body for you, you need that consciousness, spirit, soul to put into it. So either your current consciousness, soul, spirit would have to go into it. If they put someone else's in it, it's not going to be the same. It's still going to look the same. But let me tell you, it doesn't act the same. It doesn't think the same. And it's very obvious to spot a clone when you've had experience. So I don't know if that makes sense or makes things more complicated. I personally believe that I have had, it's still my body. It's still my exact body, but I personally believe that I have had to at least have one of mine activated in the here now. So like, it's still me, but it was like, anyway, I don't want to talk about that stuff. I don't like talking about super soldier stuff, but I end up talking about it a lot because I spent a lot of time there. So hopefully that clears things up for you. I don't think a lot of people would want to come back to this life. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's some who might, but usually when you're done, you're very excited to be done, unless you have some unfinished business when you weren't expecting to go out. But
yes, these lives, I recently learned, I had a session like a month ago, and they told me that between many of my past lives, I had to rest in the spirit realm for like 5 million years. So human lives are very, very taxing, so taxing that the soul has to rest for 5 million years between lives. 5 million years up there, not the same as down here, but we didn't choose an easy path coming down here, any of us.
right, exactly. I would so love to know like what those were. Someday we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So Curious Lightworkers, Light Channeler says, I ask this question because I want to experience human limitation from a galactic perspective. This is probably why I have vision of myself standing next to a UFO. Human experience. I want to experience human limitation from a galactic perspective.
Well, maybe that's what you're doing right now.
It's very possible. That's funny you say that, because I was thinking like, after I read that, they were showing me you standing next to this UFO, but really that was you. So like, it's almost like you're either a galactic human or like you're, I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, who knows? You might be doing that. And you have to understand that there are certain rules. So like, if you're down here, if you're galactic and you're down here in a human body, it's not like you can just be beamed up. Like, it doesn't work that way. You're stuck here. Or if you are a human and you're like, let's say you're in the super soldier program and you go off planet, there are a lot of ways to deal with like going off planet and what they do with you and how they put you into other things that you're able to withstand all of the different dimensions and densities and things like that. So it's complicated and I don't think I can explain it well. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I can't claim to know anything, to know a lot. Temple knows much more than I do about how all of the incarnational things work, the fractalization of the soul, how it works dimensionally and through all the levels. But it's very possible that you have a parallel incarnation as someone who's a galactic being, and there's a piece of you in the human that's down here, and you are observing yourself from up there down here, but you're having this experience now. So the part of you that's observing you is not your conscious mind, because your conscious mind is currently in the human.
Right. This is actually something really cool that you brought up. Okay, so here are your grapes, right, you guys? So if you're so massive and you have like billions and billions of grapes, you can have more than one incarnation at the same time. So you could be here on Earth, and this could be a Palladian incarnation. I don't know. You could be in a military somewhere on a different planet. You could even have an incarnation on Earth and then have little pieces of you in other people and fractals. So it's not like you can only be here on Earth in this incarnation. And that's why it gets complicated, because it deals with like percentages at some points where you're borrowing, and then it deals with whole grapes where it's all you, and you can have two of all yous just in different places at different times. It's not so straightforward. So yes, it's very possible that you have many other incarnations going at the same time, because everything is now. So like whatever incarnation you have is the now, and you have many incarnations because the now is now, but you are on timeline 1. This is your timeline. Actually, they consider it timeline 0. That is your timeline. The one that you're writing to us from, the one that you are. That is your main numero uno. And that's very important. Like this is like way off topic, so I don't even know if we want to get into the whole timeline things, but it's very important that you're here now. And I understand that it's interesting to know what our galactic families are doing out there and all of this stuff, but there is a reason that we are here. We are, in order to get the work done, we have to have anchors here on this planet. Otherwise it doesn't work so much, because those people from out there can't really come in here without breaking some rules and laws, which I'm sure they do. But there's a lot of stuff that is very logistical when it comes to all this. So if you're here in a human body, you can access way more, because we are a planet of free will. You can access so much more than you could on other planets. And the fact that this is the planet that needs the help at this time. Like there's a very specific reason why we are all here at this time. And if you're tuning in now, you're a very big part of that reason. So,
yes, it takes strong souls and strong incarnations to withstand the density of this dimension, of this density, to get the mission done, to break out of all of the conditioning, to even learn these things and get to the level of things that we're talking about. I mean, I don't know what percentage of the population, I'm sure it's a very high percentage, doesn't talk about these things, isn't aware of any of these things. And we are some of the very few comparatively who are talking about working with energies and getting this mission work done and helping with Gaia. So all of you who are listening and all of you who are tapped into this kind of stuff, by default have to be very strong souls, because it's really hard to break through this density in like to any percentage, but it's a high percentage if you're talking about this kind of stuff.
Yes, exactly. Yes, thank you guys so much for asking these questions. We love it when you ask questions. And I love questions like these, that deal with very specific aspects of like what it means to be human. What is the human body like? How does the incarnations work? How does that compare with like the SSP stuff? I enjoy those conversations, and so I could talk hours and hours and hours, but I want to stay on topic. I'm trying to stay on topic as much as possible. So keep the questions coming. You guys are amazing, and we can always delve into if we don't answer them thoroughly enough, or you want to branch off, we can always devote other episodes to these things as well, and have open episodes too, where people can just ask away. So yeah.
Anything is possible. Whatever you guys want to do, however the energies line up, we don't want to limit ourselves or you guys about topics of conversation. So
exactly,
we want it to be a community and a co-creation among all of us.
Exactly. And as always, if there's things that we say that don't resonate with you, that's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. You don't have to take them in, it's perfectly fine. So we are at the 2-hour mark. So I think we should, if Ra is available to speak, and then we can do our activations for clearing, balancing, and moving forward.
Okay,
you're
that's
cool
good.
with that.
Mhm.
All right. And if you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in and we'll see. We'll make sure to get to them before we head out.
Greetings, I am Ra. It is wonderful to speak with you tonight. I have not addressed this group in some time. In fact, this channel has not channeled in some time. It is a time of high tension upon your planet, both on the surface and within your physical bodies as humans. All of you who are listening to this transmission have been asked to integrate a great deal of high frequency energy over the last few months. You have been asked to clear out a great deal of very low density energy from your physical bodies in the last few months. It has been a very chaotic act of balancing, bringing in, purging out, bringing in, purging out, and so on and so on. As a result, many of your nervous systems are a bit fried. As you have been releasing energies, your body has been reliving some of the neurological responses of pains and traumas you have gone through. As you have been receiving the higher frequency energy, you have had moments of great joy and bliss. And this seesaw of energies has been a lot for the body to take. It is a lot for the physical body to get used to. Mentally, we know that you are all strong. Spiritually, we know that you are all strong. However, you incarnated in physical bodies. And as a result of this integration and releasing of energies, many of you are feeling lost because your nervous systems are fried. Your mental bodies are fried. And for some of you, your heart bodies are fried as well because it has been a great time of emotional highs and lows. Because of this, some of you are feeling lost right now. Some of you have had people leave your lives in a surprising way, in a way that you did not anticipate, in a way that might have been painful, felt like something was being ripped away from you. And this is not inclusive only of relationships, also home spaces, moving of homes, changing of careers, changing of paths. Everything suddenly feels like quicksand beneath your feet. You are all fine, and I have come through to tell you that you are all fine, my children. This is a time of great transition for your planet right now, and you have been put in a place where you are now ready to take a higher path, take a bolder path, take a path of a truer mission, a truer calling, something, a path that is more aligned with what you have heard for so many years. All of your spiritual teachers talking about being leaders of a new phase on this planet, about being light bringers, way showers, whatever word that you like to use. You have been being prepared for this. However, these paths that you have contracted yourselves to take before incarnating in this body to your human now may seem daunting, may seem scary. You may feel unprepared. And in conjunction with your nervous system settling in with all these energies, these anxieties, fears are only exacerbated at this time. I want all of you to know that I am so proud of you. You have all moved through energies the likes of which has not been seen for many eons on this planet. The levels of highs and lows have been astounding, and you have all moved through these energies with such fortitude, with such bravery, with such high heads, even though at times you have not felt like it. If only you could see the applause coming to you from the higher realms, hear the cheers of praise from the higher realms for you, simply for enduring what you have been asked to endure in terms of these energies. You are all so brave and you are all so strong. And I would like to come through in conjunction with my daughters here today to send you some energy to help you balance, to help you step firmly into your higher timelines with confidence, with peace, with joy for yourselves and joy for what you are going to do. For my children, you are all going to do miraculous things in terms of bringing through information, bringing through energy, bringing through healing. Each and every one of you is so magnificent, and I want you all to believe these wonderful things about yourselves. I want you to feel them within yourselves as I feel them for you. The truth of how I see you, I want you to see yourselves this way as well. I would like to go forward to send out the energy and have Temple add to the energy afterward, unless there are any questions. However, I do not want to spend a great deal of time channeling for questions this evening. Do you have any questions or need for clarification, my daughter?
There are no questions in the chat at this moment. I think we can probably go ahead if you're okay with that, Father.
Yes, I'm eager to get this energy to the portion of the collective that is listening, because you all very much need some healing and some peace in your lives at this time. I see a great unrest among so many, and I would like to do what I can to help quell that. I will begin. Uro oko toko shi'iku, lauku tono makatu, lakashatu kushtiki, mosholohata lokotihi, dono yeta turuikasha, mayita kusata, toyeya hahatohata me echatoroha, yoya hanami iki esha oso, osogi inka, Inko ona e hana mu ushu, hisa I kulu utu mai yi yaha, yahata uno mi isa ta, doro ine asata, don sai, aito ma asahika, isa tu uno ma asati ya a si o ma'a si ko o so utu ma'a a. Namaste, my children.
Ni e te esku oto, na ale e ke be e shakatohono, la hana te epe ke e te elene hata, uopo usho koloni ele jikata ki eska, moto iolopo, ka iana te eskete, puhushot, ame ekele bete da asta, nale hete kana hahala kupo kahiwo juk ma ai ini ete bushu khonot ekele het eme ejukup ala bere khanet de ega amota de ege namota kala hete beshikete ne sheshe jehubo hot ma eke vehelejek mo oto ma leshe tene e bebe het buhukumoshuk. Malechene te ekete ejetete. Muuluri ihuku le echanete ejuk moto. Mahalete bejeketahana. Nahala ete bejekana. Muhukututale etete ne etete ene etete ene etete ene etete ene etete ene etete ene. Kehenete, kehenete. Kahandate heleje kmuhuluk. Mahaletepe, mahene eje ke ete, hane ete, hene hete, hane hete, hanata, buhua, buhua, nalepepe, kuama, malejo kumohoto, zupu jukoto hono, zupu juhanata, pehete, kalehemeze kelejene, naleeshete, busoto. Dele henes, que dele bete, que nete, dele ete, dele tere, 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 tu tere, dele ete, tere, 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 kuto, tu tere, iskele, etele, 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 eke. Buhono, tele, ebe, heshet, neme kete, la hamoshukut, pachala, genene, ejepo, lubuyoko, mahlide, jagadon maska, napukoto. Namaste. That was amazing.
That was strong.
It was really funny when, like, you could tell when he was in, because he did this like he was he was very like strong and very ready to go, and like I loved it. It was great.
I hope you guys received that well and it serves you going forward. If you had a need for balance or some peace, I hope it brought you some. And you can always revisit this video if you found that the codes were helpful to receive a booster of them if you would like. The energy is always available for you.
Yes, so thank you everyone who joined us tonight. We're doing every other Wednesday. So next Wednesday we are off so we can do our mission work, but we will be back the Wednesday after. And again, we'll put it up there so you can all know when the time is. But thank you so much for coming, and you can always listen to this again. I
just wanted to add, if you want to hear Rod channel some more, I'm going to be channeling on Hukalo this Saturday morning at 11 Eastern. So if you like Raw, he will be channeling there on the Hukalo YouTube channel, and you can ask him questions there too if you had any additional questions for him.
Yes, perfect. Yep. So if you guys, now that you got to hear him, those of you who are not familiar, if you have questions, Maggie will be channeling on the Hukalo YouTube channel on Saturday, and you can ask Ra your questions then. So, okay. Anything else?
Nope, that's all.
All right. So much love, everyone. Thank you so much, and we will